All right, we're back. We got 6 weeks in the books, and we got 12 left in the regular season. So week 7 today, lots of buys. There's only 13 games this week, so we're gonna rip right through it.
Be done in an instant.
One quick thing as I get rid of my bacon neck collar here. Oh, lost my train of thought. What was I? Oh, if you like the podcast, subscribe to it. You'll get a notification when the new one's up. If you don't like it, turn it off right now because there's no obligation to watch and
Stop
listen.
watching.
Yeah.
Stop listening.
Okay, let's get into it. We have a game tonight. First of all, it's very foggy outside. It's kind of like foreshadowing Halloween or something. It's
Fall is here. Yeah.
foggy here in north central Illinois. So I don't know what that means about the Thursday night game between the Jaguars and the Saints, but
It's not in Sycamore, is it?
oh, I don't know. You should play an NFL game here.
Should. Oh my God.
That would draw well.
So many good venues.
No, it's not in Sycamore. It's in New Orleans.
Oh.
So we got the Jaguars against the Saints. What do you got?
And I got the Jaguars given 3.5. I'm on the Jaguars bandwagon. They could only have every team fly several time zones out of their normal time zone to play. I think they would win the Super Bowl.
Who, the Saints?
The Jags.
Oh.
The London team.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Yeah.
I thought you meant that the Saints were flying to the Jags for this one.
Well, it would benefit the Jags if that were true. They were in London, and the Jags had been there for several weeks. It's a recipe for success in the NFL.
You know what they should do?
Yeah.
Every game should just be a random neutral site.
I love it.
And they only publish it just like right after the previous game.
That's excellent. Random site, random teams every week.
No, you know who you're playing. You just don't know where.
Oh, you don't know where or
So,
when.
like,
Okay.
You're gonna go play the Saints in Puerto Rico.
Wow, okay. I think that's amazing.
I don't know how you'd sell tickets to stuff like that.
I'm not sure. Baseball and hockey should do that to drive interest. NFL's probably okay right now.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. I had a pick 'em. Josh has Jags by 3.5. And it is so the Saints were -3, and now it went down to 2. It's 2 most places. So Saints by 2. I get that one. So a big storyline here is Trevor Lawrence is truly questionable. He's got a knee issue. So who knows if he's going to play? I don't even know who their backup is. But aside from that, let's just say Trevor Lawrence was healthy. It's just, I mean, the Jags have won a couple in a row. The Saints, who did the Saints just lose to?
I don't know.
Saints. They lost to someone not very good, I think. So these kind of middling teams, it seems like from week to week, they have an up and they have a down. They have an up and they have a down. This just seems like a spot where the Saints kind of get right on a short week, and maybe, they're a little more amped up because they're playing the Jags, who've won a couple in a row. But that's just my perspective on that one.
They lost to Houston.
Houston. Yeah. Saints at Houston.
Their AFC South opponent.
Carr threw a pick to seal it, I think. I don't know. There's like a picture of Kamara like not happy with someone talking to him. That team just seems like discombobulated, like something. There's not good chemistry going on in New Orleans.
They're 3-3 right now, and I think I've mentioned before how much I dislike that coach. And this seems like a team that's going to hit like 7-9 or 7. What is it? 7-10, 8-9, kind of right around there. Not good enough to do anything, but
that seems fair. And then again, I talk about this all the time, but I'd have to look at their schedule and see who they play. Obviously, so their division is what? Bucks, Falcons, and Panthers. So I don't know. Probably, one of the not the best division in the NFL. Let's just say that. So you obviously get 6 games against teams in your division.
Bucks seem to be the best of that division too right now. Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I would say that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of that division,
let's go right to it.
We have the Atlanta Falcons at the Bucks. So the Falcons lost to the Commanders at home, and the Bucks lost to the Lions at home.
Yeah.
So both teams kind of hungry for a win here. Both teams around 500.
Every team in that division lost last week. Bucks, Falcons, Saints, and winless Panthers.
Well, and I just said that division isn't the best in the NFL, so I guess that's supporting evidence.
It is, yeah. The whole thing loses in 1 week. Not a great sign.
All right. Okay, I went Bucks by 4.
I have the Bucks giving 5.
Okay, Bucks by 4, Bucks by 5.
For Mayfield a whole lot.
And it opened at 2.5 and it's 2.5. So okay, give me a second here and then we'll talk about this. So Vegas is saying that the Falcons are a slightly better team in this spot than the Bucks. I don't understand that. Why is it not a little bit above, like it should,
a push?
Right?
Like, what if the Falcons done this year that like screams that, I don't know, they've not looked competitive. They, like the Saints, have looked like full of malaise and nothing, no flash, no excitement, just sort of lazily getting the job done. The Bucks have looked better. They looked competitive against the Lions, which surprisingly are one of the best teams in the NFL. This line makes and the Bucks are at home. I don't get it. Both teams coming off a loss. Really strange.
So you'll hear me say this on ones where it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So you'd think, like, your intuition would say, well, they're only 2.5. I should take the Bucks. Well, my philosophy is there's something there. There's a reason why they're saying the Falcons might be a slightly better team in this spot. There's something going on. So I would actually say, you do the flip of that, right? Like, you take the Falcons because Vegas knows more than we do. But I don't know. Like, do you trust yourself? Do you trust Vegas?
Don't trust
you. Tell me. But I don't know. I think both teams hungry for a win. I guess ultimately it's a pretty fair line. It's close to a field goal, so it's not like it's way off. But take your pick there. You gotta, what is that? The NFC South?
Yep.
Showdown.
I mean, it's for the division right now.
Yeah, that's good.
Early in the season, so let's have a lot to play for.
All right, let's go on. We have the Raiders and the Chicago Bears. Okay, what do we got here? Garoppolo got hurt, but they still managed to beat the lowly Patriots. And if you ever follow Van Pelt's like bad beats or whatever, so the Patriots had come back and they were down 2, and they got, I think, well, whatever, it was a safety. They got a safety, so they were down 2. I think the spread was like 3 or 3.5 or something like that. They were down 2. They took a safety. It went down 4, and that's how it ended. So you probably had some unhappy people on the Patriots. Although if you're picking the Patriots, betting the Patriots, you're probably, I don't know, got some other questions to answer anyway. So let's jump into it here. Raiders, Bears. I have the Raiders by 5.
I've got the Raiders giving 3.
I think you get that one. Where are we at? Was it up?
Yeah, it's right here.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Raiders by 3, opened at 3, still is 3. All right, you smoked it right on the dot.
Did. I must have some inside knowledge. I do. The Bears are terrible. The Raiders are also bad, but not as bad as the Bears. So,
okay.
Hence the 3. It's at home. So this is really a kind of like a 6-point swing when you think about it. It's typically your home team, all things being equal, will get 3 points as a base. I mean, the Raiders are playing for everything. That feels like a teardown again. The Bears are absolutely in a teardown situation again. I really do feel like if they hadn't caught their defensive coordinator looking at porn on his work computer, that Eberflus probably would have been fired by now. If there was somebody there to run the defense. Noticeably, they did just hire a defensive assistant for the Bears. So maybe that's coming if they continue to underperform. I mean, the Bears just aren't good. There's nothing about that team that works. Unfortunately, they had two good games. Well, one good game and one stupid game where they lost after going up 28-7. Yeah, don't bet the Bears.
All right. So the Bears lost to the Vikings. They were pretty much down the whole game. Then Fields got hurt. The backup came in. They scored one touchdown.
I don't think he's playing either this week.
Yeah, Fields is questionable. He might even be out already. I didn't look recently, but yeah, he had a dislocated thumb on his throwing hand. That usually you want to take a week off with that one. So, yeah. So Fields is out. You got the Bears who are pretty terrible,
very bad,
and the Raiders are coming in, and it's 3 with this backup quarterback who went to like Shepherd University or college, which is I think a D2. And it's 3. I guess I thought it would be a little higher. Josh nailed it. 2 pretty bad teams, although the Raiders have 3 wins, or what are they?
The Raiders might be 3-3 right now.
So we'll get back to you on the Raiders record. I mean, I guess even though they kind of feel, the Saints are a little bit like they have an okay record, but it just doesn't seem like they got a lot going on. I feel like the Raiders are kind of in that too. Like their coach made some questionable decisions. Their play has been just very inconsistent, but I guess if you can get on the right foot and win some games, you're going to make the playoffs.
I mean, they beat the worst, right? The Broncos, the Bears, and the Broncos, the Packers, and the Patriots. That's really pretty much the bottom of the NFL. They lost to the Bills, the Steelers, and the Chargers. That's one good team and 2 mediocre teams. So they're bad.
Yeah, and
Raiders are bad.
I'm gonna keep saying this, but if you look at a team and you say, "Oh, they're 4-2, oh, they're 5-1," like of course they're gonna win that game. Look at who they've played, who they lost to, and who they've beaten. It'll tell you way more,
absolutely,
like, exponentially more than just their record. I mean, that might be obvious to some people, but do it. Do your research.
And none of that. Oh, they're only playing who's ever on their schedule. Garbage. If the people on their schedule are bad, they're bad.
Right.
Bad team.
And I mean, a mediocre team's going to lose to a bad team here and there, and the best teams won't. So, I mean, it's all relative, but,
Look at the records. Look at the schedule.
Look it up.
Yes. Do your own research.
Contrary to popular belief, what you hear here is not all the truth and perfect.
Mostly wrong, probably.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Good.
You got the Browns. Okay, the Browns at the Colts.
Impressive win.
Browns beat the 49ers without Watson playing. PJ Walker said, maybe the best team in the NFL, Niners. No sweat. I got it. So Browns at the Colts. You got, I don't know if Watson's going to play this week or not, but you might have PJ Walker against Gardner Minshew. I mean,
G-Minch.
No other games need to be watched. Just put this one on.
That's right.
Get the popcorn in the popper, the wings in the crock, and beer in the cooler. All right. Browns at Colts. I have the Browns by 3.
And I have the Browns by 4. Browns have the best defense in the NFL right now. They, I think, are number 1 rated rushing defense, and they're top 5 in pass defense too. They are.
Yeah, I mean, what they did to the Niners was pretty impressive. And I mean, I guess I was probably more impressed that they were actually able to
on the road too
and like score late.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, they got Moody to miss his only kick of the year, which rookie kicker. I mean, we were talking. I was watching this game and we were talking about it with a buddy, and I'm like, there's no way he makes this kick. Like I don't, right? The rookie kicker who's never missed, like there's got to be a little bit in your head. It was like a 41-yarder, which isn't a gimme. What was the Bears kick when in the playoffs?
Oh, the double doink.
That was like 43.
Yeah. Oh, it was within it was less than 50 for sure. It must have been might have been less than 45. I try not to think about it.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. The Matt Nagy years were also abysmal. Even though man had a winning record, what are you going to do? Bears fans just aren't happy with anything.
Yeah. Okay, so I went through Browns 3, Josh went Browns 4, and it was
2.5. Looks like.
Yeah, it opened at Browns 2 and it went to 2.5. So I get that one.
Yeah.
We were both very close. Just seems like a fair line. If I was talking about week to week, well, I don't know. I mean, the Browns are probably one of the better teams if they get healthy.
Best defense for sure.
But the Colts need one. They're coming back home. The Browns, I mean, obviously they knew they could beat the Niners because they did, but I think they'll be coming down off that high. I think this is a spot where if Minshew can get a couple touchdowns against a tough defense, I think the Browns are going to struggle probably. So
offensively, yeah, maybe.
I think the Colts is the right side on this one.
Richardson's out, right? Oh, it's Minshew. Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, he is out.
He's out, right? He's on IR.
He's on IR, and I think there's some grumbling about. I think it might not just possibly, but
yeah,
we'll see.
It's a bummer for him. Bummer for Indy.
Minimum of I don't know. He's been out. Yeah, so he's been out 1 week so far. Yeah. This will be second week, something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So we got the Washington Commanders against the New York Giants.
Football Giants. Huh?
So
crappy football Giants.
I didn't watch much of the Giants-Bills game, but the Bills didn't score a touchdown before the fourth quarter.
No, the defense had completely stymied them, and then they scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth. The Bills did.
Like all this, everyone talks about the NFL on these podcasts and whatnot, and all this stuff, and then no one is predicting that. I don't care who you are, you aren't predicting the Giants to Tyrod Taylor and the Giants are going to hold down the Bills and probably should have won that game. I mean, that's part of the reason why the NFL is so I don't know, popular. There's just weird stuff happens. You can't predict it.
Josh Allen looked very pedestrian for 3.5 quarters. And then he turned it on. He made plays when he needed to make plays. And that's one of the things about Allen is that he has grown so much as a quarterback. But when he first started, people thought he was a disaster. He was a huge misfire for the first 2 years of his career. And unfortunately, I think some of that play creeps in a lot of the time. And you don't get the really dynamic throws and the great runs. You just get a lot of crap, a lot of inaccuracy, a lot of wild stuff. That just seems to plague him. And I think that's what caught up to him here in this game.
You're saying that even the good ones, that playing quarterback in the NFL is a tough thing to do. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying Josh Allen can be wildly unpredictable. I don't think he's completely grown into the type of quarterback that, say, Mahomes is, who's just utterly reliable. I don't think you can say the same thing about Allen.
Speaking of that, I didn't verify this, and it didn't seem true, but I was thinking it probably was. So Russell Wilson versus Mahomes. I don't know if this was before or after the Broncos Chiefs, but it was Russell Wilson, 11 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, 10 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, 4 interceptions. Mahomes, 5 interceptions. Quarterback rating, or maybe it was just rating. Wilson's was a little bit better, and then it was defense points allowed, and the Chiefs have allowed the second fewest points or something like that. And the Broncos are the worst. So I'm not sitting here telling you that Russell Wilson's a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, but
it's so strange.
I mean, it is a little bit easier to manage a game when your defense is not giving up 128 points a game. So take it for what it's worth.
That's an incredible analysis. If that's true, if statistically there's almost no difference between Wilson and Mahomes, but that the Chiefs are 5-1 and the Broncos are 2-3 or 2-4. That's incredible.
Yeah. I don't know. Some would say that Vance Joseph is the D coordinator for the Broncos. Maybe he's got to get it together. Although,
well, again, then look at who they've played. They lost to the Lions. They beat the Jags barely, killed the Bears, killed the Jets, barely beat the Vikings, barely beat the Broncos. That is not
For the Chiefs, yeah,
that is not a murderer's row for the Chiefs at all.
that's true.
I mean, the Bears are the first worst team in the league. When they played the Jets, there was still that quarterback uncertainty, and they almost lost. I mean, the Vikings, they almost lost. The Vikings aren't a great team right now. Oh, wow. The playoffs going to be interesting for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and if you remember last year, the Chiefs, everyone was playing cover two against the Chiefs. Like they were just sitting two safeties back and saying beat us underneath, and then Mahomes would try to force something downfield, throw a pick, and it was working for these teams. Like the Chiefs were still winning, but they weren't, they weren't doing what they want to do on offense. And I haven't paid attention if that's really happening this year, but it seems like, well, when you're the Super Bowl champions, teams try to figure out what you're doing to stop you more than other teams. And it just seems like they're not clicking as much as they normally would. So it kind of makes sense, but they probably don't care. They're 5-1 and
probably going to win that division because they're better than those other teams. The weeks to watch for the Chiefs then, the week 9, week 11, and week 14, they play the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the Bills. So coming out of those games, you have a much better sense of, I think, who the Chiefs are. And maybe I don't know, the Chargers are so weird because that's who they've got next. But
all right, we kind of got off on a tangent.
Boy, yeah.
Washington at the Giants. I have Washington by 3.
I have Washington by 2.5. Giving 2.5.
Yeah. All right. We have it opened at 2, and it is 2.5 most places. So I'm off by 0.5 point, and I lose that one. All right, you nailed it. What do you think on this?
I think Washington, these are both not great teams. Washington coming in as not quite the field goal favorite, I think makes sense to me. I think that's a nod to the way the Giants defense played. And I think that the Giants record this season in their play, they have to be giving up points, or they have to be getting points rather. The Giants have to be getting points. They're not a good team right now. They don't have the right quarterback. That seems like a team in disarray. So does Washington, but Washington for some reason is 500. So the 2.5.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Obviously, we both guessed it. You were right on. I was just off 0.5 point. Like it makes sense. I guess the argument for the Giants would be it's a division game. Their defense looked really good against the Bills. I don't know if Daniel Jones is playing or not. He has that neck injury. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know at this point if it really does matter, but and then Washington beat the Falcons on the road, so
which is a mediocre, not a great team, but a mediocre team. That was a nice win for the the Commanders after losing to the Bears.
Right. So I mean, if you think the Giants defense can continue what they're doing and they can kind of build on that, it's kind of there's like these inflection points. It seems like this is the point where the Giants had a decent game even though they didn't win. Like, are they going to build some momentum and actually maybe win a few games, or are they just going to completely suck and you're going to see Dable throwing the Microsoft Surface at Jones and the rest of the team, and they're just going to be PO'd on the sideline? There was that. So I didn't see this in real time, but I think it was the end of the first half, and they just totally screwed up the clock management. You just see Dable
he effed up.
Like what? So obviously, I guess he screwed up because he's the head coach. But I didn't. So what did they do? What was the play? Did you see it?
No, I don't. I just saw the headline afterwards that like Dable makes huge like clock management mistake, which is the first time you see that popping for him. It's not like Hackett last year. Every game there was like 3 of those. He's been much better as a game manager than as a new coach than most. So that's what was surprising to me. But I don't know what he did specifically.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah, turn in for the well-informed, detailed information here for all your football needs.
The only thing I'll say is, we were talking about, oh, it's Daniel Jones, he sucks and whatnot, and I was like, I'm not convinced Dable's really that good of a coach. Well, Maybe it just manifested itself. I don't know. Look it up.
Yeah.
It almost, I just looked at a headline real quick, but it almost seemed like maybe Taylor didn't
it up.
was supposed to,
Yeah.
and I'm just kind of filling in the story that I thought it was, but was supposed to spike it or was supposed to do something specific and didn't do it. Anyway, look it up, figure it out. If you care about these Giants, look it up. All right, let's move on. The Lions. Your Detroit football Lions
America's team
against the Baltimore Ravens.
Division leading Baltimore Ravens.
I have the Ravens by 1.5.
And I have the Ravens giving 2. We're very close this week. Right there.
So I have 3 wins. Josh has 2. I think you get this one. I think you're a little closer. It was 2.5 and it went up to 3. So
oh wow.
There you go. These are equal teams apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josh gets that one. We're tied 3-3. So
fascinating. Okay.
Here's what I'll say about this. So the Ravens just beat the Titans in London. The Lions are 5-1, something like that. Okay, so the Ravens kind of have this. I don't know if stereotype's the right word, but they've kind of been one of the hard-nosed physical teams historically, right? Now the Lions are basically saying we're that team in the NFL. We're more physical. Blah 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 blah. What I'm trying to say is, I think that's going to be a motivating factor for the Ravens this week. They see the Lions with a little bit better record coming into their house. I think you're going to see the Ravens beat them up a little bit. I think you could see a lot of injuries happen on both sides, just the way those teams play. Here's something to note. I think the Lions' top 3 running backs are going to be out: Montgomery, Gibbs, and Craig Reynolds. So I don't even know who's going to be playing running back for that. I mean, maybe Dan Campbell puts a helmet on.
And be great. I know it was a tight end, but he'd be great.
Couple fullback dives or something. I don't know.
Watch out for your knees, guys.
This is, if you can trust the Ravens, I mean, I just think they're going to take care of business at home. I just think they have a little bit more to play for at this point in the season. So star that one, Baltimore.
Great test for the Lions, right? And this is we're talking about schedule and stuff, but the Lions have beaten great teams. They've beat the Chiefs, right, in that opening game. But then they've gotten wins over teams that are 300 right now. So they are 500, excuse me. They beat the Falcons, the Bucks. They lost to the Seahawks. And then they've beat some crappy teams, the Packers and the Panthers. But so they have some real wins. The Lions have real wins, right? It's not like they've beaten the Bears and the Broncos.
Right.
Yeah, this should be a great game. I wish I could watch this instead of the Bears game. Maybe I'll drive to Michigan. It's only 2 hours, 90 minutes, just over the border.
Baltimore. Or are you going to have the viewing party at Ford Field?
Yeah, well, you just drive to a bar in Michigan, so you can watch the game, right?
Okay. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll go to Ypsilanti.
Oh, there we go. We just to go to the casino in New Buffalo.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Okay, 3-3.
Woot.
Let's move on. We got the Buffalo Bills against the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
We're calling them the Patriots until they turn it around. Then we'll call them the Patriots.
The Lastriots.
I have Buffalo by 6.5.
We got this the same. This is a tie.
All right. Bills minus 6.5. This is going to be a tie. What's the actual line?
I bet it's close. Gotta be close to this. Oh no, it's not.
Bills.
Yeah.
Open at 8.5, and it's 8.5 most places. So I get it. Until the Patriots cover, you're just gonna keep inflating that line, maybe. And the Bills had a little bit of a, they didn't play well against the Giants, so they're gonna be like, okay, let's take care of business. I don't know. I think that's a lot. More than a touchdown on the road in a division game is a lot. So Is it warranted? Is it fair? Or do you just take the home underdog in a division game at more than a touchdown? I don't know.
You look at what Allen did against the Giants, and this line scares you. You think about Josh again. You think about just Josh Allen without that context. This line makes a ton of sense, and I think recent history again supports this line. A broader, longer view of history, this line doesn't make any sense because I think the Bills went like 20 years without beating the Patriots. I think that's not. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but not by much. That's strange. I wouldn't bet this. I'd stay away from this.
Yeah, I think I gave my take on the two sides of that. I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. How can
Neither would surprise me, honestly. Like the Bills blow them out, or the Pats win in a close game, or
here's a theory. So the Bills lost to the Jags in London, and then they played bad against the Giants and barely won. Like,
yeah,
maybe they're a little bit broken. Maybe teams have figured them out a little bit. I don't know.
Injuries. I don't. It's just weird. That line is so weird, though. Again, I do think the jet lag thing matters.
I think the Bills have significant injuries on defense.
They did, yes. Again, this year they've had injury woes on defense.
Yeah, and those are some. I mean, those things are more difficult to keep track of who's in and who's out. But I think like Tre'Davious White has been out for the year for a couple weeks now. Go check that one. I could be wrong on that, but I think they've had a couple other pretty. Like Milano was out at least a week, which is their best linebacker, and so there's some of those things playing in. But I mean, I don't know. They're still 8.5, so I mean, I don't know. It's a big line.
Big line.
You go figure it out.
Stay away.
Okay.
Stay away.
We have the Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. I have the Seahawks by 5.5.
Same 5.5. I got Hawks. Yeah.
I think this is another one. This is over a touchdown.
Which is it really?
Surprised me. Yeah. Opened at 8.5. It's come down to 7.5.
Okay.
Seahawks minus 7.5. So it's more than a touchdown. Kyler Murray just started practicing again. Yes, obviously, I would highly, highly doubt if he would play this week, but the Cardinals have running back injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this? Tell me why this is more than a touchdown in a division game. Like I mean, I get it. The Cardinals aren't great.
Yeah.
The Seahawks are
3-2,
decent. They have good wins and they've
coming off the bye. Yeah.
Tough schedule. No, they just played. Did they just beat the Bengals?
Oh, did they? Oh,
they had
you're right. They had the white. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's right. Early buys.
It just seems like it should be just below a touchdown with a division game.
Yeah.
But it's just above a touchdown.
Are they giving more because it's Seattle? Does the Seattle home field advantage matter more now? It used to.
That could be.
12th man.
What is it? Yeah. That quarterback's probably never played in that environment. I mean, that could be part of it. I mean, it certainly used to be. It seems like the 12th man thing in Seattle is not as much of a factor as it used to be. But I don't know.
Yeah, this one just feels a little strange. I don't think the Seahawks haven't wowed anybody. More people have been more impressed with the Rams and what the Rams have done this year than the Seahawks. That's become again that division has become incredibly competitive. Maybe it's the most competitive in football right now.
Seahawks, Rams, Niners. I mean, those three teams have 11 wins already.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be, without looking at it all, that's got to be close to the most wins of any division.
Yeah. The next one would be maybe AFC, the North, right? So the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Browns.
And Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals, if they can get their stuff together, that would be incredibly competitive division.
I think you just that division would have more wins at this point. I would say probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look it up. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, we're not here for facts.
Okay.
No facts here.
We tied.
Yes.
2 in a row.
We're tied.
We're tied overall. Let's move on. We got 5 left, and it's 3-3 with 2 ties. Steelers at the Rams. I went Rams by 3.
And I went Rams giving 4.
Ooh, this will be interesting. I think it was 3.5 at one point.
Oh,
Opened at 3.5, went down to 3.
oh, there you go.
I get it.
Yes.
Okay. I got it right on, so now I have to make something up about why. I believe the Steelers are off a bye. Obviously, they have a good defense. They can kind of travel and play teams tough anywhere. I think the Rams are the better overall team, although they have their top 2 running backs are out too. Like this Evans dude, who I think is a rookie, is maybe projected to be the lead in the backfield, but Kyren Williams and Ronnie Rivers are both hurt. So you got some injuries on one side, and you got the Steelers coming on. It just felt like these teams are fairly equal. So you make it 3, and that's kind of what it's settled on. So I don't know. Pick your winner there. Steelers are flying across the USA, but they're off a bye week, so they should be plenty prepared. They probably flew in there like right after their previous game, and they've been, I don't know, relaxing on the beach for 2 weeks.
Sounds like Mike Tomlin. That sounds like a Mike Tomlin coach team. Just go relax, guys. Soak in the sun. Go practice.
Yeah, we're not going to prep for these guys.
Got it. Is Pickett still injured? Is he out?
Well, no, he didn't. So we made kind of a big deal about how he was supposed to be out, and Trubisky was supposed to play that last game, and he wasn't even out. He didn't even look. He didn't even
get concussed or something.
Limited. No? Well, he had a knee
concussion.
He had a knee problem, which didn't even
concussion.
Contusion.
Oh, contusion. Got it.
I thought it was going to keep him out of game, but it didn't even seem to bother him. But then they played another game. I don't know. Maybe he got banged up in that one too. Anyway, I think he's playing. So there you go. Steelers against the Rams. That's like could be a sneaky decent game.
Yeah. Although good offense versus good defense.
Sometimes the Steelers are not fun to watch on offense.
When they're losing 30-6 to the Texans. It's a weird team. How do you lose 30-6 to the Texans in 1 week and then come back and beat the best team in your division 17-10?
The Rams lost to the Texans.
No, this is the Steelers.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah,
it's a sentence like from 1 week, and I know that the Texans are kind of like, oh look, they've got the quarterback, they're putting things together, but still 30-6, and then to come home and win a slugfest against the Ravens. It's so weird. Football's weird, man.
Yeah,
can't predict it. Weird.
I guess. So here's the thing. Steelers and Saints defenses are definitely both top 10, I would say. And
yeah.
Stroud beat both of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, good.
Recently.
Good. He's gonna be good.
Or wait,
money. They're NFL futures. Can you bet the Texans to win the Super Bowl 3 years from now?
So I'm sure somewhere you probably could. So it seems like I heard this earlier in the year that Stroud, his offensive line wasn't very good, but he was still playing well despite it, and that obviously is holding true with playing well against these defenses. So I mean, I don't know. He's obviously impressive.
He is. He looks great. Maybe we should trade for him. You think they'd take Justin Fields?
No. Justin Fields and a.
What about if we flew in Eberflus and Pulse?
Maybe. And a microwave
and
a horse saddle. And...
I'm sure there's some nice appliances at Hallis Hall that we could probably package in.
Maybe. We should write an open letter and say, make this trade.
It's an exploratory thing. Just seeing what's out there.
Yeah. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I get that one. I'm up 4-3 with 4 left. We've got another, what could be a good game. Chargers at the Chiefs.
Okay.
I went Chiefs by 6.5.
And I went under. I went under that. I went Chiefs 4.
Okay. Chiefs 6.5, Chiefs 4.5. And it opened at 5.5 and it's 5.5. So we tie that one.
Tied it, yeah.
Right in the middle.
Okay.
So here's one for you to look up. I'm going off memory, obviously, but I think there was some trivia question about who's the only team to beat the Chiefs twice at Arrowhead within the last blah 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 years. So I think the Chargers beat the Chiefs 2 years in a row at Arrowhead, or they beat them at Arrowhead once and then they beat them the next game like in LA. But there's something like a lot of teams obviously don't beat the Chiefs and they don't beat them consistently. But I think the Chargers have beaten the Chiefs as many times as any other franchise within the last couple of years. So go look that up. What I'm trying to say is some teams kind of maybe cower to the Chiefs a little bit, or they just can't figure it out. They can't beat them. Seems like the Chargers have been competitive with them and have been able to pull out some victories against the Chiefs. So I went 6.5. It makes sense why it's lower. A lot of people are going to say it's going to be another close game between these two teams. Maybe the Chargers aren't playing great, but the Chiefs aren't either. So if you like a good upset pick that no one is going to be on, or very few people are going to be on, I would go Chargers and just see what happens.
Chargers like need to win every game. It's just such a weird for a team to be like in I need to win every game now mode, but like that's the Chargers. There's so much riding on a team with a quote unquote great quarterback. Poor Justin Herbert hasn't manifested that yet and with any kind of consistency.
Pull up the Chargers schedule. They've played
so that was just looking at that. It's
the Cowboys and the Dolphins.
They've lost. Yeah.
They played at Minnesota, which whatever. Minnesota's not that great, but on the road against Minnesota is not, there's a lot easier games than that.
So they beat the Vikings and the Raiders, and they've lost to the Dolphins, the Titans, and the Cowboys. So they've lost to two pretty good teams, and they've beaten two pretty bad teams, but the Raiders are 3-3. Right. They're second in that division right now. It's just nothing about the Raiders reads like a good team. Everything about the Raiders reads like a dumpster fire, and they're 500. That is, and they're competitive in this division right now. It's really strange.
So if you're looking at the Chargers and you're a Chargers fan, you're saying, they're 2-3, they suck. I don't think they
tonight.
They've had a more difficult schedule than some of these other teams, and they're probably just fine at this point, especially considering 8 and 9 could get you in this wacky world of 17 games a team.
Don't worry, Chargers fans are playing the Bears next week. You're fine.
Okay. Is that in Chicago? We should go to that one too.
It is not in Chicago. It is in.
Is that in LA? We should go to.
We go to that one. Road trip.
Actually, the guy across the street is going to that game. That's the game.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh.
They do like one road game a year for the Bears.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That stadium looks awesome. Like every time they show, because they were there for the Cowboys game on whatever it was. That place is cool. Good job. So the Bears, now that they've got a new stadium deal, it's not going to look anything like that. Probably build it underground.
This one's really cool.
Rusted box over it. Yeah. Let's have no open. I mean, it's in Chicago, so it can't be open air like that. But like, and probably no water features. Like, what can you do? Oh, God, it's gonna suck.
Lots of optimism here from the Bears fan.
But there's just such a track record of success. It's like,
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Yes, move.
So we talked about a couple good games. This one, maybe not so much. Packers at the Broncos. I got the Broncos by 1.5. What do you got?
I've got the Packers giving 3. I want Packers here.
Okay, I think you're going to be closer. I think they are favored. Packers by 1, and it is pretty much Packers by 1 everywhere. So Packers. Get the calculator out. You're off by 2. I'm off by 2.5. You get it. Just barely. So the Packers just lost to the Raiders. Yeah. What was that? Thursday? It feels like they had a bye week, but I think it was like Thursday, so they got a little extra rest. Broncos just lost to the Chiefs. So now you get Packers, Broncos. I don't know that we want to spend a lot of time on this. Two teams that aren't playing very well. One of the teams is barely favored. Go figure. I mean, I don't know what you like in this game. I got
Jordan Love.
Packers had a little extra rest. Broncos played the Chiefs tough. Maybe they're kind of, I don't know, coming off that game. They're a little bit. They put a lot into that game. Maybe that's why the Packers are favored. I don't know. You got any other tidbits on that one, or should we just skip over a terrible game?
Don't watch this game.
Don't. And that's probably that's got to be an afternoon game on Sunday. So
take a nap.
I would guess Chargers Chiefs is probably an afternoon game.
Yeah.
There's other ones to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe even Steelers, Chargers, maybe all 4 of those games.
Yeah. Pick a different one.
Find Steelers, Rams.
Okay. Now, let's get back to another good game.
Yes.
The Dolphins, the aquatic mammals against the high-flying, ferocious Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. I have the Eagles by 3. I'm just saying.
I haven't given 3.5, so we're very close this week.
Eagles minus 3.5, and I have 3. I think it's a little lower than. I think so. It opened at 2.5, and it is 2.5. Okay, Eagles by 2.5. That is fair. I mean, we're both very close.
Two great teams. They're both 5-1.
So the Eagles the Eagles and Niners were both undefeated. Last 2 undefeated teams, and they lost on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both 5-1. Dolphins are also 5-1. I mean, if you just at face value, you're going to say, oh, yeah, the Dolphins are playing better than the Eagles. But again, I've said this before. The Dolphins, look at who they've played. 4 of their 5 wins are against
bad teams.
Teams that are probably the worst 7 teams in the NFL.
I mean, maybe 3 of the bottom 5. Giants, Panthers, Broncos. Like, those are 3 of the bottom 5. Throw in the Bears
and Patriots.
Patriots. Yeah, so that's add the Bears in there, and that's your bottom 5 probably.
So I don't think this is as much of a spot. Like I talked about the Ravens at home against the Lions. I think this is similar just because the Eagles they just came off a loss that they didn't think they were going to lose
to
that
Jets.
Game. Yeah,
to the Jets, and Zach Wilson played.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Rodgers trying to take credit, or no. So this is just a story, right? I'm just making
it. Yeah.
But Rodgers was suggesting play calls, like he had a headset on. He was suggesting play calls, and I don't know. Apparently those play calls worked, or that's what they were trying to say anyway. So I don't know. He's got his.
Can you imagine if he ends up becoming like a head coach, and we have to deal with this asshole for another like 15 or 20 years after he retires?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I wouldn't be surprised, but I could. He's kind of odd, so he might.
Can he just fade away?
I think he's just gonna crawl into a cave and
buy an island and start peeing in jars.
So he's gonna find. So he's gonna find some other means of like, I don't know, of a career. Apparently, something just came out about Pat McAfee paying him
$1 million an episode or appearance,
something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean. He seems like he could find other ways to make money where unless he really wants to be an NFL coach, he probably won't do it. But
contrary, we'll probably go play in the Canadian League.
Yeah, well, he might still come back this year. I mean, that was a game they weren't supposed to win, so they're
competitive.
Record.
I think they're 3-3.
Yeah, I mean, like if he comes back and even if they're 4-7 or something like that.
Yeah, there's 3 Jets are 3-3, man.
Like or 4-6, like he's gonna think that he's come back.
A good coach.
I think he's a great defensive mind, and I mean, yeah, I would say like
think about
compared to who.
Well, I mean, anybody else in the NFL. Think about like how shitty the season was supposed to be. Think about like once Roger like broke himself 5 minutes into the season, and it's like disaster. They're 3-3, man.
Yeah. Is it Salah or Saleh?
Salah, I think.
Salah.
He's from Detroit, which is weird when he didn't get the Lions job because he interviewed for it. They gave it to Campbell. So clearly what Campbell has been able to do with a moribund like Detroit Lions franchise.
Imagine that. Imagine if they lined up for the Bears' next head coach. They lined up 2 candidates that were both good. And like those were the only ones that they they would have to pick a good one, right?
They always like whatever the consensus coaching pool is for candidates, the Bears are always like over here. It's like there's this accountant in Cleveland's back office that's like doing some really incredible things with numbers.
He used to be a custodian.
Yeah.
And now he's an accountant. Yeah. He got his CPA. He's
perfect.
Clearly motivated.
He knows nothing about football.
Yeah.
But those numbers.
I don't know. So let's get back to Dolphins Eagles. I think this is a spot where the Eagles, kind of like the Bills did to the Dolphins, the Eagles are kind of pissed off and they're like, okay, are we still an elite team? Are we still one of the top teams?
Yeah.
Let's go prove it at home. I don't know.
Hurts hasn't been good.
Right. Yeah, they've definitely figured him out a little bit, I think. But
if you can't line up 15 linemen behind him and shove him up, shove his ass across the goal line, he's not not bringing it home.
And I know the Dolphins took care of business, but if anyone was paying attention, the Panthers were up 14-0 on the Dolphins. Like, I don't know if it was end of the first quarter or sometime in the second quarter. Then obviously, the Dolphins figured things out. I don't know. I could see the Dolphins putting up a bunch of points and beating the Eagles. I just think the Eagles, they're going to be juiced up for this one a little bit more than the Dolphins. Dolphins are going to have to create some of their own energy. I think all the energy is there for the Eagles for the taking. Okay. I got that one. So it's 5-4 with one left. We've got the 49ers, who McCaffrey might not play, Debo might not play. Obviously, Justin Jefferson's out for the Vikings. So we got the 49ers at the Vikings on Monday Night Football, and I have the 49ers by 7.
I'm giving 6.5.
Okay, 49ers minus 6.5. It is. Oh boy. It opened at 7. It is 7. Most places. There is a couple 6.5. So I guess I get it. Very competitive week.
Very competitive week. Very competitive.
So as far as that goes, I think I'm up 5-2 through 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
This one finishes 6-4 with 2 ties.
3 ties.
Oh yeah, 3 ties.
Yeah.
Only 13 games this week. So if you haven't checked your fantasy lineup, you probably have half your roster on bye. You're gonna want to go pick up the Lions 4th string running back and the Rams 3rd string running back, and I don't know. Royce Freeman's getting signed off the practice squad in LA.
It's chaos in week 6 or week 7, whatever it is.
Let's talk about 49ers Vikings a little bit. So I was listening to something where, the Vikings have either won or lost every game by 1 score. So I think that's probably part of this, why the 49ers are only minus 7. So can the Vikings keep it close at home against the 49ers? I don't know. That's the question. I would say I hope they do, but I'm not really confident in it as a Vikings fan. But I mean, that would be, the Vikings got to 2-4, beat the Bears. If they could somehow win this game and get to 3-4, then you start thinking they have a chance. If you look at the rest of their schedule, you're thinking, okay, they got the Packers twice. They got the Lions twice, which will be tough games, but they're division games. You figure maybe they can win one of those. I don't know. Could they get to 8-9, 9-8? I mean, that's obviously wishful thinking because Jefferson's not even on the field right now. But if you're a Vikings fan, that's got to be kind of what you're thinking. All right. I guess that's a wrap. 13 games, lots of buys, a couple really good ones. I think
games
a lot of really good games. The Jags Saints, you might not look at that and say, "Oh yeah, this is a great game," but it should be competitive. It's a low,
very similar seeming teams.
It's a low line. Falcons Bucks is the same situation.
Raiders Bears. I mean,
Browns Colts, Commanders Giants. I mean, they're kind of very similar looking games this week. And then you get Lions at the Ravens is a really good game. Yeah. Steelers at Rams is an okay game. Chargers Chiefs could be a really good game. Dolphins Eagles. I think Dolphins Eagles is the best one just because it's prime time. Yeah. That could be a really good game. And
I mean, that's the one that stood out to me initially when I was looking at the week, right? But
Yeah.
Lions, Ravens. I mean, I really want to see what the Lions are all about. And this feels like the big. I know they played the Chiefs in week 1, but that's week 1. Really see what they're going to be able to do, I think.
And so the Eagles are notorious for having ruthless fans, right? Like they're just not nice to opposing fans.
And so you got Santa Claus or something.
So the Dolphins are going to Philly. I would guess they probably don't go to Philly more than every like 4 years or maybe less than that. So there could be some interesting storylines there on what comes out of that game, especially with such an intense battle between teams that only have one loss apiece.
Plus weather, maybe. I don't know. Is it going to be cold?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe the fog that we had today will make it Philly. The Philly fog game.
Fog Bowl, famous bowl from the game from the 80s. Bears and the Eagles.
Okay. You got any parting words? I think that's it for week 7.
Yeah, I mean, go Bears.
Oh, by the way, I lived in Lincoln, Nebraska for about 3 years, so I'm repping Nebraska. The Huskers are 3-3. They got, I don't even know who they play this week because I'm terrible, but Rule's kind of turning things around a little bit. It appears, but if he makes a bowl game, then next year, look out.
All bets are off.
Yep. Okay. We'll see you next week. Go Vikes!